How's it going, everybody? Today I'm here with my friend Vernon, who has actually sold about $55,000 last month on Amazon, doing a pretty unique combination of some retail arbitrage, wholesale, and a little bit of online arbitrage as well. So I'm super excited to sit down with you and chat, Vernon. But if you just want to introduce yourself real quick, we'll get into all the fun stuff after that.
Yeah, sure. So, like you said, my name is Vernon, and I've been doing this thing since 2021. Before we actually did like RA, OA, and even knew about Amazon and how to sell on that, we were buying wholesale pallets and flipping those and just selling it like physical products.
Oh, yeah.
And it worked well. And we were able to retire my wife from her job. At the time, she was making like $1,800 a month or something, nothing crazy, but we were able to retire her. And then I told her back in 2019, I was like, hey, there's going to be a time where I can actually join you and we can do this thing full time. And so in 2021, I was in the Marine Corps and I went to recruiting duty, and it was brutal as far as the hours. Pretty long hours. You're working 12 to 14 hours, probably 5 to 6 days a week at least. And so I didn't really have time to do physical stuff. So I started looking into FBA and Amazon and how I could actually buy back some of my time. And I saw Amazon as a good opportunity, found some of the other guys. Reezy Resell was one of the first guys I was watching. And I just saw how everybody was doing books and just like scaling up from there. We started doing that. The first year was pretty slow, but we were getting the fundamentals. And I think that's super important. It's just like learning the skill set with something that doesn't cost you a lot of money. A lot of people try to get credit cards and stuff like that way too early. We didn't do any of that. It was all just money out of our pocket, and books makes it super easy to do that. And then we got into retail arbitrage, and we got stuck in 2023. We were doing like 6 to 8K a month, and really couldn't get past that. Couldn't see, like, we just needed a few new ideas. We just needed a few different contacts and stuff. Found Miles, started working with him, and just within a short time, he got me up to 30 or 40K a month. It was a phenomenal program. So the program is really well structured from him, but it was also the people that you actually meet. And I think that's something that he preaches a lot. I hear you preach a lot as well. And it is very important. It is the company that you keep that's really going to determine like how far you can go in this business. And so really from there, we just scaled up. Last year, Q4, we almost broke 100K. This year,
Did you get painfully close, like a couple grand away?
yeah, it was like 97,000, I
Yep.
think, what we did in December. And then this year we should crush that. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't crush that. But we did just under 700,000 last year. And then this year our goal is 1 million. So it's going to be tight to be able to hit that. Amazon's kind of tweaked some things this year and taking some things away. But with that, there's always new things to learn, and you just have to continue to work on your skill set and everything. So we're working past that. But yeah, after I started working with him, I met some really cool people. I have some really good friends in this industry now, guys I talk to every single day, and we just help each other and share ideas and everything. And then last year, it really took off for us. I was able to retire from the Marine Corps, and I told my wife, I was like, hey, don't need another job. We're making enough money doing this thing, so we're just going to go time. So we've been full time for a year now, and just never looked back, honestly. We're making more money, and I'm working less hours than I ever have, and it's a great feeling with that. But just so nobody gets any wrong ideas, like, it doesn't start out like that. You work a lot of hours, and we didn't pay ourselves for the first year and a half. I would say at least 18 months, we just reinvested every single dollar back into the business. You don't have to do that, but it worked out for us because we were able to give ourselves some leverage without going tens of thousands of dollars in debt on credit cards and stuff like that. Today, we just do our thing, wake up, make our own schedule, and work when we want to, but we push ourselves hard. And yeah, loving life now, man.
Awesome. Yeah, that's an awesome story, man. Just for the people who are like super new to selling on Amazon, can you like briefly explain like what even retail arbitrage is, and maybe like an example, maybe like your first product you found? What did that look like? How does the business model work?
Yeah, so retail arbitrage is just finding opportunities through different stores. I recommend getting in whatever stores you like to shop at, just start there, because almost any store, I'm not grinding Dollar Tree or anything like that. Like, that would be pretty tough, but Walmart, Lowe's, Home Depot, any store that you actually like to shop at, just find product that they have either clearanced out or they're just selling at a really good price, and then look and see if it's selling on Amazon. I use SellerAmp, but you can scan the products, just scan the barcode, and then just see if it is profitable. And that's how I started. I went to Walmart, went to the clearance aisle. It used to be you're playing on easy mode if you go to the Walmart clearance aisle. It's not necessarily the case now. They caught on to that.
Sure.
But you can still find some stuff, but it's definitely gotten more challenging as far as that. You can't just load up cartfuls. Yeah, we just started out with the Walmart clearance aisle. I think we got lucky with Legos and stuff like that. Them and Target, every summer they clear out their Legos, and that's always really good deals. We bought tens of thousands of dollars in Legos even this year. There's just so many opportunities with that. So getting those sets ready for Q4, and you just go in, and then what I teach the guys that I'm working with and people that are more advanced in this, you do your homework before you go to the stores now. So I'll find products. So say you're going to Walmart or whatever, I'll find a few things, and then I'll see who else is selling those things. And with Keepa, you can just break it down so easy to see all of their stuff, storefront stock, their items, but Keepa will spit out all of their best products. You make a list of that, and you can either go to walmart.com, go back to Walmart, whatever whatever the case, and just see if that stuff is there and if you can get it profitably. And that's how you find stuff. So I make myself like a grocery list,
Gotcha,
per
yeah.
se, and just go to the stores and then find that stuff. And then another really good tip for RA is if it's at one store, it's probably going to be at all the stores, especially from Walmart, Lowe's. If you're shopping at Kohl's or whatever the case, if you can find it at one location, if you have other locations around you, chances are you're going to be able to scoop up more of those units.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That's awesome. Do you remember maybe one of those products you found early on? Was there a light bulb moment when you find something you're like, oh, like the numbers make a lot of sense here? It's at a bunch of stores. Was there a product that was like a light bulb moment for you?
I think that started with the books, and I've always been like super optimistic about this. And whenever I was younger, like trading football cards and stuff like that, or like way back in the day with Pokemon cards, or like just trying to buy and sell and just work your way up and everything like that. Like I've always had a passion for that.
I feel like a bunch of Amazon sellers where the kids like bringing candy to school and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
I think it was
yeah,
like selling
yeah.
cards at school too. Yeah, we all had something going on before Amazon.
Yeah, yeah, it's a treasure hunt. You're trying to just see what you can make of it. But yeah, so the light bulb moment for me was really with book and seeing, okay, I was like, okay, I'm watching these videos, people are doing this thing. And then I'd go into the Goodwill or Salvation Army and I would pay $4 for a book and sell it for $80. That's happened to me multiple times. And that's not something that's like realistic. Every time you go, you're going to find a book and you make $50 profit on it. But there's multiple times and almost every store I went to where I would make like $10 to $20 on one book that I paid $1 for or $2 for.
Kind of opens your eyes to like the
Yeah.
crazy money that's out there. It seems dumb that people are still buying this book on Amazon for $100, but I did the same thing starting out as well, selling,
Yeah.
doing the used books and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I believed in it, and then I started, like, doing the math in my head. I was like, "Okay, with how much somebody's making these people that work at Goodwill, they're making, like, $9 an hour, and I'm going in here and in 30 minutes making over $100 in that same hour, like, just scanning their books and stuff." And I was like, with the lifestyle that I wanna live, once I get out of the military and everything, it's very realistic to say that I could make the money that I want to be able to support my family and be able to travel and do all those things. So then it was just a commitment, and so I got really clear on, "Hey, this is a lifestyle I wanna give to my family. This is what I would have to actually put in to make it happen." And I just committed to learning the skill sets and it got me to where I am today. And I'm really thankful for that. So,
That's
but
what's
yeah, I would say books is that light bulb moment where I was like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah, for sure. Just making that first sale is like super, super important. And you're talking about kind of the skills to build, that kind of thing. What are some of the most important skills that Amazon sellers need to have practiced before they're out there spending like thousands of dollars on stuff?
I love that question. So I would say keep it very simple whenever you're starting out. So one of the things that really opened my eyes was I didn't understand Keepa at all. I just knew whenever you hear Keepa, people think of the chart that you see whenever you pull up an item on SellerAmp and everything like that, but they don't actually go into like the data tab. They don't go into the product finder. And that's where all the money's at. That's where you can really make your money. I would say being able to break down Keepa and understand everything that you could put in there to spit out products, because I could never possibly know all the different ways that you could actually use Keepa to find items, but you tweak something so small in there and it just pulls up different items that you wouldn't have seen. And that's just such an unfair advantage for people that cannot use that versus people that do use that. And so that's really a good skill set. And then I don't think it's too early on to ever use a repricer. That was something that completely leveled up. There's a lot of software I've used that has not leveled up my business, but that is one software where it's you start using this, you reprice all your items, and then every 15 minutes it's making you competitive for those different items. That is a game changer for your cash flow because you're moving through items so much faster than somebody that has to manually reprice their stuff. So learning that and actually how that works, and now AI does a lot of that for us, right? It's pretty simple. If you have a plan where AI does it, it makes it ridiculously easy to keep everything moving. But I think that's a good skill set to have as well. And then just being able to make things profitable now. We're at a point where there's so many people that jumped into this business to where you can't really go into the store and scan and make hundreds of dollars an hour. This is pretty tough. And even online, there's not just items that are out there that are 50% ROI or really high. You have to actually learn how to make stuff profitable by using coupons or by getting gift cards or just knowing the right days on those sites to be able to buy or to go into those stores and buy. And then meeting store managers and stuff like that, like doing different things to make items profitable that wouldn't necessarily be to the normal eye. I think that's big. And then tracking your journey is something that's really small. But once you have a year of data of, okay, in September, I know that this happens. And then in October, I know that this happens. Once you do that for a year, it just unlocks so much more potential for your business. Just having that data to be able to look back.
Yeah. And people definitely underrate, oh, I sold this a year ago. Oh, I sold this 6 months ago. Like when
Yeah.
you're new, you're like, I got to find new products over and over again. But you see this in my business, you see this bunch of stuff we sell. We sourced 2 years ago. We sourced it 6 months ago. You're just repeating those wins. And that's how things stack up. Is that pretty similar for your business being a lot of retail arbitrage? Is you tend to see it gets easier as you go finding those items, but obviously the beginning is the hardest.
It does. So my eyes were really open. I was looking at a really big seller. From the data, it shows that they do about about 4 million a month, which is absolutely insane. And they do mostly all retail arbitrage. There's sellers out there like that, 4 million a month.
There's some crazy people out there.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
they got networks of shoppers and all kinds of crazy stuff. Yeah.
So you can get really big, but I saw an item that was profitable and I bought it just a couple days ago, and they were selling this thing since 2009 or 2010. And I was like, what the heck? How is this still out there? And it's like
That's
the
awesome.
same model, same barcode, same everything. And yeah, I mean, it was just, it was there and it was still profitable. Nobody else has really found that, but I was able to tear down their store using Keepa and be able to find that as a lead to actually go and source. And sure enough, the store had it in there for this time of year again. But yeah, I think doing replenishables is what I call it, where you can go in like month after month and buy the same stuff, or like the season when we're coming into winter now. So you're looking at fleece pants, coats, like different, you got to think about what people would need for winter, like the holidays coming up with Halloween and Thanksgiving and Christmas and stuff like that. A lot of that stuff was profitable last year. It's going to be profitable again this year. Christmas lights are insane. If you know what you're doing with that, people are like, they may have 10,000 different sets of Christmas lights, but they're going to buy another one this year. It happens every year. People just buy those things. Just knowing how to find that stuff is really important. But I would say, yeah, being able to have like replenishables in your business instead of going out on a scavenger hunt and trying to find all new stuff every time is a lot more sustainable for you.
Just because I make it clear your process, like when I've done retail arbitrage before, usually it's just like a little scavenger hunt, but you're actually preparing before you go into the store. So you're doing a little bit of storefront stalking, looking at what that person's having success with. I assume you figured out if they're a retail arbitrage seller beforehand, and then you're just storefront stalking and building a list from there. That's your process.
Yeah, so a huge tip for anybody that's wanting to get into this, retail arbitrage isn't that hard. You just need one lead to start out with. So say you want Walmart to be your store. You go to Walmart, you find one item, and then you take that item home. Obviously, you list it up, you try to sell it and everything. But what you're doing is you're taking that data and you're breaking it down. So you're saying, okay, I'm selling this item and it is profitable. It's a good item and it does sell. Who else is selling that item? So you pull up all those stores. And then for Walmart, they carry a bunch of private label brands. So if the store has like great value and heart tools and stuff, like different stuff that they sell and it's selling on Amazon, you're like, okay, this person's clearly going to Walmart to find their stuff. So then you just break down their store and you're like, okay, this might, you still have to look at it and be like, okay, there's a hammer here and it says that I could get it, if I can get it for $10 or under, then it's good. So that makes sense. Or they'll have some items where it's okay, I have to get this item, it's a toolbox for $2. That's probably not going to happen for you. They had it on the selection. So I'm making a list of like their best items that are moving fast and that chances are that I could get it at that price. And then I'm just either going to Walmart.com or you go to the store and you just see if you can actually find that stuff. And then once you do that, then you have your sellers. You're like, okay, this dude is super rock solid for Walmart. So I'm going to save their store. And then before I go to Walmart in the future, I'm like, okay, man, they're working on your team and they don't even know.
Yeah.
So you're like, all right, buddy, what did we find at Walmart like last time looking up their stuff? And then once you master that, or you feel like you've tapped out that store, which Walmart's massive, but once you tap that out, then you're moving on to Lowe's or you're moving on to Home Depot or like grocery outlet or whatever you have available to you, Trader Joe's. There's just so many different retail stores that you can go into. And people are even doing Buc-ee's now. I found
Yeah, I've seen a bunch of Buc-ee's listed.
Buc-ee's. That's insane, but you just work with what you got. And there's people out there that are crushing Buc-ee's and they're probably doing hundreds of thousands a month, maybe with Buc-ee's, and who knows? So you find those stores and you just save those. And then over time you build up your catalog and then that's how you win. So with retail arbitrage and online arbitrage is the same thing, right? So you have your store for Kohl's. You have like your people that are really good at Kohl's. You follow them, or you have people that are really good at whatever store you want to say, like even Walmart.com or whatever. And you just save those stores and then you can always have that data to come back to. And that's super important.
Yeah, those regional stores can be a hack for retail arbitrage, right? Because you got grandma who grew up in Texas. Now she lives in Minnesota and she needs the Bucky stuff. Guess where she's got to get it? She's got to get it on Amazon. I see that with all the regional grocery stores for sure.
I'll share one with you. I wanted to see if this was like a real thing. I was traveling up. I was actually in Florida and they had a Buc-ee's that I was passing. And I was like, I got to get gas, and Buc-ee's, they have any drink or food that you could possibly want in life. So I went in there and I was like, okay, I got a couple of leads from there. So I bought some jerky, and within 3 days, this jerky sold, and it wasn't like super profitable or anything like that, but people were paying like $26 for some beef jerky.
Holy.
Just because it's from, just because it's from Buc-ee's and they don't have one. So, I mean, it's just insane, the different opportunities, but you got to think outside the box about what could possibly be out there.
Yeah.
But the data showed that it sold. So I did a shot on it.
I like it. Yeah. That's another thing I want to touch on. You mentioned that you're doing some like road trips and that kind of thing. Like when you hit on one of these items, like what does that look like? What was your last road trip for? Like how many products are you driving? How far are you driving? Just what does that process look like?
Yeah, so I'm thinking about like the average person, they probably make what, $200 to $300 after taxes and stuff like that a day, like working a job. So whenever I'm doing a road trip, I'm like, okay, I need to make at least like $500 to $1,000 after all my gas, food, hotel, everything's paid for and everything. I want to come out of the day and like at least make $1,000. So to do that, I don't buy anything that's under 50% ROI. And then most of the stuff that we get now is 100% ROI. So I'm thinking like spend wise, I need to spend about $2,000 a day to be profitable to where I want to be. So just in the last couple of days, I haven't totaled up exactly how much I spent, but it was around $6,000 on actual product. And all of those products, I'm very confident will sell in the next 30 days. So if you say, okay, on the low end, all of those things were 50% ROI, I at least made $3,000. And that was 2 days of hard work that actually, not really hard. I enjoy it. For some people, it'd be hard work doing all the shopping and driving and stuff like that. But for me, I absolutely love it. And a lot of times I can take my family with me too. So that's a bonus. We're actually going up to South Carolina this weekend. And it's like a family trip, but we're going to be doing some sourcing as well to just pay for the entire trip. And that's
smart.
That's a hack, man. That's a hack on life right there.
Because then the miles that you're driving for vacation are tax deductible because half of it's a business trip.
Yep.
That's awesome.
So our hotel that we're staying in, that's going to be a write-off. And then the food, you get 50% on that. And then the gas and everything like that. So yeah, pretty awesome.
Are you teaching the kids what's going on at all yet? Are they too young? Like you got them getting curious about the operation?
Yeah, so I have a 12-year-old and he's starting to figure it out. Unfortunately, he doesn't see the power in it and he doesn't care too much yet, but I'm hopeful. And then I have a 3-year-old, he's almost 4, and he's actually like trying to help us with, he wants to go with me like whenever I'm going sourcing and stuff like that. He wants to move around packages. If we have FBM orders, like he's wanting to help prep and stuff like that. And he's like a little leader as well. Like he's got personality for it that he could actually lead a company. So I'm pretty hopeful that either him or our youngest is going to take it over one day.
That's fun. Hey, maybe before too long, you'll have the first like 5-year-old CEO for your family or something.
We'll see, man. I'm trying to do this thing. Like I try to stay healthy because I wouldn't mind being like 60, 70 years old, like going into stores and doing this, or at least running a team and just being a part of this in some way for the rest of my life, just because it's been such a blessing for the family and I absolutely love what I do.
Yeah, there's a lot of older people who they got the retirement, they need an extra $500 a month. All right, let me go to Walmart once a month. That's not super uncommon. We don't all need to be out here. If I want to do $1 million, I want 5 million, that kind of thing. I think especially retail arbitrage is great for those people that you just want something to do when they're old, when they're retired, that kind of thing. Yeah, so I think with all this, obviously we talked about like the success, that kind of thing. How long did it actually take you to see success? I don't want to set false expectations. Like what did that process look like?
Yeah, for the first 6 months, I would say just expect to learn and you have to be okay with not getting anything out of it. And some people may start seeing profits before that. And then some people, it may take a little bit longer than 6 months. But for the first 6 months, you just have to go into it like, this is my college education. This is the price that I have to pay for this, and get in a routine and just start learning the skills. And we started to see that we were making sales and that we were making a profit at the end of each month. After that, you're still buying some bad stuff during that time because I didn't understand the in-depth knowledge that I have now. But I'm gonna say about 6 months, and then within a year, if you take this thing very seriously, you could be making some substantial money. Actually doing it at least $2-3 a month in a year, which retail arbitrage is very possible. And then within 3 years, especially knowing what I know now, and if you're actually working with somebody, like if you have a mentor or something like that, you could be full-time within 3 years. I think that's very possible. Some people, like I said, they could do it in a year and it could be earlier and stuff, but there's a lot of things you have to understand. You have to really understand cash flow. You have to understand that Amazon could change the rules on you. So you have to really know how to fish for different ASINs and stuff like that and not just rely on one brand or one store or anything. But yeah, for us, I would say about 6 months, we started seeing success. And then in 2024, that's when we started making a full-time income and I felt comfortable walking away from the military and doing this thing full-time. So
now you just get the military discount and you can
military
discount worth it now.
Yeah, it's nice. I actually use that this week, man. Any advantage that you have, I feel like I deserve that discount.
Yeah, no, I think that's a big thing. Everyone has their small advantage. Maybe you have a family friend that has a retail store. All right, now I have some openings for wholesale accounts, right? Everybody has that very small thing. Like for me, I think my thing was I had 2 younger siblings that were willing to work. So I had some cheap help in-house. It made a lot of things more possible. Everybody's got that small thing. You got the military discount, that kind of thing. And getting into that, why do you think you've been able to find success on Amazon when a lot of other people try and fail, right? Is it a mindset thing? Is it luck? Like, how does that break down?
Yeah, a lot of it is mindset. I would say that. And I think a lot of people that come into this, they look at it like a lottery ticket. So say they're going to work with you or something like that. They think that paying that money to work with somebody is a lottery ticket. They're going to scratch it off and they automatically win. No, working with somebody like you, it's like getting them to the starting line of, hey, you can do this. I'm going to teach you exactly like step by step how to be successful, but you still have to run your race. You still have to actually put in the work. And that's the mindset part of it, is like understanding that there is work involved. People go to a job that they hate for 8 hours a day, 5-6 days a week, and they are comfortable with doing that now, but they're not comfortable with putting in a hard 8 hours of actually learning this business a day for 5 days a week to try to do that. Or maybe they don't have 8 hours, but maybe they could just do an hour per day and just say, I'm going to commit to this for Monday through Friday and stuff. And people just don't do that. They just would rather pay for another course or watch another YouTube video or something like that instead of actually putting in the work. And that was the difference with me being in the military. Like, there are some easier things about the military. Like, they take really good care of your family and stuff like that, but you have to earn the stuff that you get in the military, and you have to work hard, and you have to put yourself in uncomfortable situations like all the time. And I think that was a huge advantage for me whenever it comes to e-commerce and stuff like that, because it's very uncomfortable being bad at something. And whenever you start out something new, you're not going to be good at it. It's going to be, you're going to fail, and then you're going to fail, and then you're going to fail, and then one day you're going to figure it out. And I was okay with that. I was okay with failing. And then I also knew I had two of my boys at the time, and then our third one came along and everything. And I was like, I know one day they're going to look at me, they're going to come to me and just say, hey, you told us we could be whatever we wanted to be, but why didn't you chase your dreams with your life? And that was one of the things that scared me if I ever had to have that conversation. So that lit a fire after I had my first son. Was like, there's going to come a day where I'm telling him that he can live out his dreams, but I'm not doing anything to live out mine. And it was just like, I decided that whatever the price was to be able to make this thing work, that I was going to pay it. Yeah, you got to learn the skill set, but I think mindset and just saying, I will do this until I win. If you just say until and you don't put a date on it or anything like that, and you just work every day, I think almost anybody can succeed in this business.
I agree. Well, I've always said, I think literally anyone with effort, you can do 10K a month, right? Now getting to the 100K, getting to those goals, you're going to have some special know-how and stuff. I actually think literally anyone can sell 10K a month on Amazon. Yeah, that's awesome there. Do you have any kind of last minute tips for people watching? Obviously, I know a lot of people are probably feeling overwhelmed by the process. What should somebody take seriously in the early days here?
Yeah, so I wrote down a couple of things that I think would apply to anybody that's watching this right now. One is you have to get clarity on what this business is going to be for you. Is it going to be $500 extra a month, or are you trying to quit your 9 to 5 and actually do this thing full time? Because obviously you're going to have to learn more skills if you're trying to go full time, and you're going to have to put more effort into that. So I think a lot of people don't actually get clear on what their freedom number is. They're just going out finding products and stuff like that, but they have no idea how many ASINs they need to find, how much they need to sell per month. So just get really clear on what that means for your specific business, and that's going to help you out a ton. And then I wish people would hold themselves accountable, like they hold the software accountable or Amazon accountable. When Amazon changes a rule or they do something, like, people freak out, but people aren't freaking out whenever they're not even putting in 10 hours a week to actually learn this business. Just make sure that you're holding yourself accountable, and that's going to take you very far. We talked about skill set. Failure is going to be the price of success. You know, you're not going to have success in this business unless you fail a lot of times. So you might as well just fail really quick and really fast. Just go out there, find a lot of failure, and then you're going to find your success at the end of that road. And then the last thing is Amazon and e-commerce in general, I feel like, is walking through a fog. So you can only see a couple of steps in front of you until you actually take those steps, and then you can see the other steps that you want to take. And I think a lot of people are just like, okay, I need to be able to see everything. I have no faith. Like, I just need to be able to see this whole thing laid out in front of me. It doesn't work like that. You go out there, you do a little bit of work, and then you realize that, hey, I need to work on this. Hey, now I need to get a repricer. Now I need to get a coach in my life because I'm stuck on this thing, or I need to watch this video to learn this skill set. So just take a few steps every single day, and then eventually you're going to end up to where you want to be. That's really what I want to share with anybody that's watching this, because I think that those things apply to anybody.
Yeah, that's awesome. You're firing off like an inspirational quote generator right now. That's awesome. And for anybody watching, if they want to reach out to you, ask questions, I know you've been starting to get into the content game a little bit. Where can they find you?
Yeah, I have Facebook and Instagram, and the name on there is Vernon Johns. So you should be able to find me on there.
Yeah, we'll get that link down below if you guys want to reach out.
You can find me on there, and yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at now.
Yeah, really appreciate you hopping on today, Vernon. Awesome to hear your story. Hope this kind of inspired a lot of you guys watching as well. If this is helpful, like, subscribe, drop any questions down below. We're always happy to answer those for you guys. But I really appreciate you guys watching. Thanks again for your time, Vernon, and I will see you guys very soon.